Welcome back to Cornhusker Connection. I'm Brandon Shanahan, joined by the fellas, Tyler and Brooke. America's favorite podcast about the Cornhuskers, where two of the three hosts live in a different state than the other one. Statistically, those are the numbers. Facts don't care about your feelings. Another outstanding week of college football coming up here. How you doing, fellas?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, man. I mean, I'm excited. Should be another good week. Last week was a pretty good week as well. Of course, Nebraska picking up the win against Northwestern. Another opportunity to pick up a win here against Purdue, or I could even say Purdue.
Got him.
Got him. God, they better win now.
Also, fuck Ryan Walters for what he was saying in the press this week.
Yeah.
What'd he say? I missed that.
So I guess growing up, he was a big Colorado guy.
Brother.
So he was like, when I saw the red coming out of the tunnel and that N on the helmet when he was the DC at Illinois, he was like, just brought up some bad feelings and how much I hate them or some shit like that. And I was like, all right, buddy.
All right, well, now I'm mad. Now I'm like, personal. All right, let's kick their... Yeah, now it's personal.
Now it is personal.
Now it's personal. What I would also like to mention how funny the ties have turned since that football game. Because I was looking at their schedule. I mean, Colorado's a 17-point favorite dog against UCLA.
Man,
there's a chance they don't get 5 wins, let alone 6.
What I would give to see a James Draws video of Colorado, what happened?
There had to have been one after that Stanford game. Well, James probably went to bed at that time.
He's a bandwagon fuck, so
okay,
probably not.
All right, settle down.
Yeah, chill out.
Sorry, James. I didn't mean that.
Oh man,
friend of the program.
Yeah, I love James. I mean, just talk about having a niche and just nailing it.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's so funny. And also, he records everything on like a flip phone, which makes it even funnier.
It's just, the funnier thing is that like seeing folks come on TikTok, like if I see James Rose make a video about my team tonight, it's over for me. I'm crying to sleep. And it's true.
Off my phone.
I mean,
I'm going 0 dark 30 on everybody.
I mean, it's one thing to like have, and not that Nebraska's been relevant enough to make the James Rose playlist, but I mean, it's one thing to have like the entire world look shit on us for being Nebraska over the last few years. To see him do it, I mean, that's a different beast. I think he did a couple of Broncos games last year where I was like, dang, that is
for no reason at all.
That's the best part about it.
They weren't good, so why even do that?
I mean, I thought they were going to be good, so maybe that was part of the point. But I mean,
you don't want to hear it. Be better.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you just can't be.
The thought of like a cheesy Nathaniel Hackett pep talk before a game and be like, "We don't want to be a James Rose video tonight, do we?" No.
I will say it does.
Los Angeles Rams.
To Tyler's credit, it does kind of piss me off that he's a Chiefs, Warriors, whatever fan.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I figured it was
unfortunately.
Yeah, because he's from Oklahoma, so I'd figure he'd be an OKC fan. But if he's a Warriors fan, then he can fuck right off.
He's one of those guys who has to be a fan of the best teams.
Yeah.
Shout out Grant.
Shout out Grant Kane.
What a beast.
Love you, Grant.
But first thing I wanted to kind of get into is that we kind of taking a couple of weeks off talking about the Heisman race. So we got some new updated Heisman rankings for you. Putting this together, I saw that J.J. McCarthy snaked his way into the top spot in all the sports books.
He's not a top 10 player in the country, so miss me with that.
I mean, he's a part of the best team in the nation, so I understand why he's getting those nods. He's not the best player on his own team, so I do think it should go to somebody like Michael Penix or, I mean, Jordan Travis, I guess, but.
Oh, say that again.
Yeah, you think about the criteria, and obviously, you want to get the best players in college football there, but it seems like there's always like a chair open for like the best or the most notable player on the best team, like Stetson Bennett last year, or Colt McCoy back in those days. I can't believe that I forgot about every other Heisman race since then. But it kind of feels like there's a chair for those kind of fellas that aren't the best, or like Colt's case, not even the best in his own conference. But so
What's
that
going on over there, Tyler?
fair spot for him.
I'm watching the game. Christian McCaffrey just fumbled, and then the Vikings just hit like the cleanest celebration I've ever seen in my life. So,
I was like, what? I was like, he's real mad about what Brandon's saying right now.
I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw them pick somebody up and start carrying him around on the field. It's crazy.
That makes more sense. I was like,
I'm locked in. I'm sorry. I'm locked in.
That is a pretty staggering thing to look at the television and see if you're expecting football.
Yeah.
CMC fumbling. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, that's not nothing. I guess Brock Purdy will have to carry that team again.
He was down the field.
Yeah. Funny how that works. So here's our Heisman rankings. Obviously, every one of ours a little bit different, but the same. I mean, I don't think there's any spiteful actions like in our team rankings.
Fuck you, Brandon.
Yeah, maybe that was a bit spiteful.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Travis is really good.
Not only that, you didn't have Jordan Travis on your list, you put JJ McCarthy. Both of you have him in there.
Well, I mean, he is
real pricks.
The most notable player on the best team in the country. I feel like,
and I think that means a lot coming from like when it comes to Heisman stuff. Being on one of the best teams in the country, I think means a lot for that vote.
Well, if we're gonna give it to someone from Michigan, we might as well give it to the guy who steals all the signs.
You're right. I think we got to put an asterisk by
Sign
McCarthy.
Number 2 Heisman candidate in the country.
I when that first came out, I didn't put much thought to it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. How big of a deal could that be? But then I saw today that he had fought take us to 30 different games. The scout 10 other Big Ten teams.
Did you guys see the clip of Greg Schiano's halftime interview when they were playing Michigan?
Yeah.
He said they knew it was going on, and Rutgers was kind of playing even with them for a while. So obviously whatever they're doing is mattering a little bit.
Yeah, there's a reason that Harbaugh was off those first 4 weeks. It wasn't due to suspension. It was so we can implement this plan that they have going.
My God.
I guess the real question is what team is Coach Harbaugh going to coach in the NFL next year? Because he's not going to stick around for the downfall of
with this shit going on. He's definitely
He's like, I got to win a national championship this year, and otherwise it's over for me.
I don't hope they win it all, but if they do, I hope it all gets vacated. Because my God.
I mean, that's not nothing. I mean, it seems like it's definitely creeping up to be a pretty big deal.
I mean, he's going to take a play out of the Pete Carroll playbook and just slither his way out of there and go to the NFL.
The time to cash in is now.
Yeah.
And then maybe he'll get lucky enough to draft a quarterback as good as Russell Wilson for whatever team that he gets on, so Russell Wilson can carry him to 2 Super Bowls and everything else. But yeah, I do think that, and this shouldn't be the way that I think when I'm putting these rankings together, but it kind of came into play. I'm Stetson Bennett was the finalist last year. I think JJ McCarthy's definitely better than Stetson Bennett was. I probably should have had Jordan Travis in there instead of him. That was a miss by me. That's on me.
I don't hate your guys' list. I really don't like JJ McCarthy because I don't think he does anything. I understand he's the best player on the best team right now. I don't even know if I believe that because you can make a case for Blake Corum being the best team player on that team right now.
I mean, both of those running backs might be better running backs than he is a quarterback.
I believe so, but it's a quarterback's award, truly.
Yeah, and one thing I'm actually surprised about here is that you guys still have Drake May on your list. I figured after they lost to Virginia, that he would kind of fall off people's lists. So if you guys want to talk through that, why you guys still have him on there?
So for me, I keep reminding myself Johnny Manziel won it as a 9-3 quarterback. So one loss isn't going to kill you, especially a name that people aren't talking about enough. Tyler, you have him on your list. Jaden Daniels. If they win out and go to the SEC championship game, I could see it being him because his numbers are video game numbers.
Yes, he puts up some crazy stats.
And he's doing this all with an atrocious defense in the SEC. So I don't think he's by any means out of this.
Well, if you're talking to Brandon, you mean just normal SEC teams, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
SEC
Well,
stinks.
you keep pushing that because you've been right so far.
But I think the brightest timeline for Drake May for me is the fact that he still has everything in front of him. He's still got a game against Notre Dame. He's still got a game against Clemson for whatever that'll be worth at that time. Then probably a matchup with Florida State in the ACC championship game. So there's just so much left on the table. Granted, yeah, loss to Virginia isn't great. Still at 347 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. So it's not like he's the reason why they lost to Virginia. But there's still a 1-loss team, and I think that's a really good. I probably use the same logic for Jaden Daniels. Obviously, that Florida State game didn't go well, but still got a game against Alabama. If you win that game, take care of business with all the other teams in the SEC West, then you get another matchup with Georgia. I don't think that would go very well, and that would probably be where you'd get disqualified for me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think both of them still have plenty of opportunities. Where you look at a guy like Dylan Gabriel, or even Jordan Travis isn't going to have a real opportunity to really flash on a big stage until the ACC championship game. Michael Penix, they're going to have a couple of big games here. So yeah, I think I still like Drake May, and you definitely see that the gap between him and everybody else on the field against the teams that he's played so far.
Yeah, I wanted to put him on my list again because I've been talking about him all year. I love Drake May. I just, with that loss being so bad and it being so fresh, you think that he probably falls this week, and then next week if he comes out and plays well and wins, I think he's back up on that top 5 list.
I think in terms of the committee or the Heisman committee always talks about Heisman moments. That ACC championship game, whichever quarterback plays better, that could be the deciding factor between, Jordan Travis or Drake May. So, that would be a big Heisman moment, winning your conference championship and pushing your team to a playoff. Theoretically, I don't know if you can put Carolina in with a loss like Virginia on your resume.
Yeah, but I do think that it's almost early enough of a loss. If they lost week 10 to Virginia,
true.
then for sure. But I think it's just early enough, or on the edge of early enough, to where they can say, yeah, you kind of pissed down your leg that game. Let's see how you do the rest of the year.
They need Virginia to get bowl eligible to even make that look like a decent loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the one thing that the committee I think has been consistent on is we'll let you in with the loss, but it's got to be a good loss. The floor has to be high. And even with those high floor teams, seemingly there's still a lot of blowouts in the playoff. So I think that would be a tough look. But then, yeah, you pick up wins against teams like Notre Dame and Florida State in the ACC championship game. You have 12 wins, conference champion. That's a tough thing to say no to.
Oh, they play Notre Dame this year?
I believe so. I just had their schedule pulled up.
I think
no,
that big...
throw that out. I was wrong.
Okay. I was going to say Notre Dame. Holy shit!
An idiot.
Yeah, no kidding.
They do play Duke still. Duke is ranked.
If Riley Leonard doesn't play, then that team is way different.
I mean, it's 3 weeks from now, so you'd like to think that he'd be good to go by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, a one-loss conference champ. That's a tough thing to keep out.
Well, okay. On the flip side of that, Brooke, if Florida State loses the ACC championship game, do you think Florida State still gets in?
It would
Because
depend
then, go
the
ahead.
situation of other teams. Like, I would say, like, Ohio State, if they go 11-1 and they don't even get invited to the Big Ten championship game, I would still put Florida State ahead of them because they still went.
Yeah,
Even though,
but
yeah, it's
but
splitting hairs. It
then
would,
then you lose to a team that lost to a shitty Virginia team.
yeah.
So yeah,
But I mean,
you're right.
I feel
It
like
is
that's
splitting
almost
hairs.
splitting hairs too much because is North Carolina still ranked or they drop out entirely?
No, they're ranked. They are. Oh boy, where were they?
Yeah.
Oh boy, they dropped pretty far. 17.
Yeah, if
Weren't they
they're still
14?
top, what?
Were they 14
I think they were. I thought they were getting pretty close to the top 10.
or were they 10? I can't remember. Anyways, sorry.
If North Carolina is still top 10 and they lose to them and it's like a close game, I think, that's not a bad loss. Like you can't penalize Florida State for North Carolina losing to Virginia. I don't think. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. It is interesting to see now that the Pac-12 is a viable conference this year, because let's assume that Michigan, Ohio State, whoever wins that game and beats up on Nebraska in the Big Ten championship game, Georgia seems still like a gear above everybody else. Then you have a situation where I think whoever wins, assuming they win out in the regular season and don't stumble, Washington and Oregon, whoever wins that seems like a pretty sure in. And then you're splitting hairs between that and what if Malik Murphy is the answer in Austin. They go on a tear. They beat up on Oklahoma. All of a sudden, they've beaten all the teams on their schedule, including a win on the road in Tuscaloosa and avenging their only loss.
Real
Or
quick,
even
to go back
go
to
ahead.
what Tyler said, the more Brandon's talking about it right now, if Florida State lost the ACC championship, I don't think they would go just because Texas or Oklahoma, whoever wins that conference, would jump them. And if there's a one-loss Pac-12 team, yeah, I would say no. Going back, and it just hit me while Brandon was explaining all that. So I think we're getting to the point in the year. If you lose, you're probably out.
And that's tough because Florida State, because North Carolina wouldn't even be like their best win of the season.
No,
probably be LSU, and for that to keep them out after going 12-0, that's tough. But they're going to be favored in every game they play up until January, so you just got to take care of business.
Yeah, absolutely. Winning, you're in.
Absolutely, just got to take care of business. So cumulatively, here's kind of what our Heisman rankings would be put together. Pretty similar stuff: Penix, Gabriel, Travis, May, Daniels. Minus JJ McCarthy, pretty similar to what the books are saying. Nothing too crazy there.
Wait,
But,
you have Jordan Travis on
Yeah,
there.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was,
Well, because you had him 1 and then Tyler had him 3. So my not having him on didn't matter as much. He's still cumulatively.
on the FanDuel side.
Oh, do I have him
You have
twice?
him at
He's just
2
that good that he's.
I was like, wow, Michael Penix isn't even on FanDuel's odds. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
he must be.
wait
So
a
Michael
minute.
Penix is probably the 2 slot there.
2, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And
Okay.
then, yeah, that's weird. But
So
it is what it is.
we do have the right guys, just wrong order. But I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of shaping up pretty well. I think I kind of talked about this in preseason. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a sneaky one if they want to give some love to a non-quarterback.
He just had a super slow start with that offense, but
Yeah.
he did have a big game against Penn State that might get him back in that conversation.
Yeah, especially because it does seem like when their offense does do well, it's because of him, and he's getting the proper credit, as opposed to a team like Michigan where it's the running backs who are running the show and making the plays. But since JJ McCarthy's the quarterback, he gets the credit. Feels like it's the opposite in Columbus. So I think that's he could absolutely make it to New York. Well, and if he plays good against Michigan, he wins that game for him. Who's to say he can't win it? Devontae Adams just won it not Devontae Adams.
Devontae Smith, yeah.
Yeah, Devontae Smith. He just won it a couple years ago, so who knows? Okay. Who knows?
I just don't think he's on a high-powered enough offense to warrant him winning a Heisman.
Yeah.
Well, you're not wrong. He had 11 for 162 and a touchdown against Penn State. Those aren't small numbers, but he would have to have a behemoth game against Michigan for me. To Tyler's point, yeah.
And he missed a couple games this year, right?
I don't think he actually missed the games. He didn't. It wasn't relevant in a couple of the early games. I think in the first game he had 2 catches.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
when they were trying to figure out their quarterback situation.
Yeah, I remember that. And this is the guy they came up with. All right. All right.
Well, the other guy was really not good.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just crazy how hard it is to get a quarterback, because Ohio State and Alabama, they both have guys that are like, I don't know if I like any of these guys. Now they had to get a guy from Notre Dame in after spring in Tuscaloosa, and they benched him and then brought him back. And I guess he's been playing pretty well since then, but it's just it seems like those are the schools that would always just have somebody ready to go.
I think you're seeing some of these, big schools that are not willing to go out in the transfer portal and get guys are kind of getting bit in the ass by not doing that.
Or when you do, you go out and get the wrong guy.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
I don't know. I get Tommy Rees, the old Notre Dame OC, is now at Alabama, but bringing in a guy that wasn't very good at Notre Dame he's probably the third string at Bama now. What did that do for you?
Yeah. And that is interesting to me, because I feel like Ohio State, outside of I don't know, a couple of schools in the country, could in theory just go be like, hey, I know you're happy here at whatever school you're at, whether it be like Dylan Gabriel, for example. Are you telling me that if Lincoln Riley or Ryan Day came calling, that's a tough thing to say no to.
Well, Lincoln Riley has Caleb Williams.
Yeah. So he's probably not knocking on anybody's door. But even Georgia. I guess Carson Beck's been fine, but I guess all the good quarterbacks are on those really good teams, so it's probably a mute point.
I think it was really good of Notre Dame to go get Sam Hartman, but could you imagine if Sam Hartman was at Ohio State, he would be number 1 in these Heisman rankings, I think.
No kidding.
With Marvin Harrison and the horses they have there. Crazy.
I'm trying to think of who's a good quarterback at a bad Jalen Daniels or Jalen Daniels at Kansas.
Yeah,
Ohio State, go get him.
Yeah, he would be electric.
Yeah,
somewhere else.
Finally figured out the end of my circle of nonsense.
Cam Ward at Wazoo.
Yeah.
Or there's got to be another one we're missing. You could argue Drake May is too good for North Carolina, but
I think he got up. He would have had opportunities like that if he got into the transfer portal.
Absolutely.
But I think he's doubling down. And that's what I am excited to see, is that there are guys who are still this is where I committed to play. This is where I'm going to finish her out. Kick rocks, Nick Saban. I got Mac Brown. But another week, another opportunity for some pick'em action. The last week we did was not last week, but the week before. A lot of people had a good week. Not me. 5-5. I'm pretty sure I picked the favorite in every single game. That was my strategy going in, and it didn't work. Worked great for Luke the last time he was on the show before this, but nope, not for old Brandon. So I would say our score predictions were all pretty close. Tyler a little bit high, Maya a little bit, or Tyler a little bit low, Brooks a little bit high.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's see here. Just looking at this list, Kansas. I had no read on that game.
Yeah, it just Oklahoma State found something after they went 2-2 to start. They really did.
Well, and the thing with that game that's so crazy to me is that if you had told me that Jason Beaton was going to throw for 5 touchdowns and 400 yards, like, oh, Kansas wins by 1,000,000. How did they lose that game? And they do. And they do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what my whole thought process was. If that's Jaden Daniels, they absolutely win that game. But Jason Bean cannot throw a football. He has no business being a quarterback. My God.
I mean, how can you argue with that stat line? I mean, those are crazy numbers he put up in a losing effort.
Just go look back at like other performances from earlier this year or even last
Yeah,
year.
you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. But
crazy.
I just can't believe that he was that dynamic throwing the football and they lost.
Yeah. I mean, he did prove me wrong a little bit where, he was better against Oklahoma State, but not good enough.
A team I've been wrong about all year, Missouri, picked up another win that I had them losing. Yeah, Missouri's good. It is what it is. I was actually looking through my preseason predictions. I think I had them winning like 5 games. What an idiot. What a bozo.
Luther Burden. That guy is the fucking truth.
Yeah. I can't believe Missouri is back before Nebraska is. But here we are.
Eli Drinkowitz talking that shit and backing it up.
Yeah, I mean he'd be such a laughingstock if he wasn't good, but he's winning football games.
Good for him. Good on him.
Good on him. Yeah, I had Texas Tech beating Kansas State. The Big 12 is the conference I thought I had the best read on coming into this year. No, I fucking don't. I don't know anything about what's happening there. I mean, I got nothing. I got nothing for the Big 12. It's a lot of fun to watch for me, but boy, yeah, I am so off.
It's chaos, my boy.
Yeah. And then Wisconsin losing to Eastern Iowa was a bummer.
It was. I love that you call him Eastern Iowa.
But luckily, we got a clean slate in front of us this week. I feel like I could flip a coin on all of these and have better success than I did last week. But nonetheless, here we go. Kansas and Oklahoma. Rock chalk. I'm just assuming that Daniels isn't going to play the rest of the season. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, then there's no shot that they win this game.
My conspiracy theory is he's going to sneak out the back door with wherever Leopold goes. Likely,
it should be weird though that he leaves. I don't. It's so weird that he was all for it, signed that extension, and then now he just leaves.
I feel like college coaches kind of have to sign extensions nowadays for recruiting purposes because, why would a recruit go there if their coach only has a 1-year, 2-year deal? But
you're telling me nobody was knocking on his door last year?
Oh, there had to be, but probably not an offer he wanted.
Yeah, like Michigan State money is a little bit different than I'm sure some of the folks that were coming around last year.
They might give him $200 million.
I'm sure Nebraska called on it.
I don't know
unless they zeroed in on Rule before they got to there.
That's kind of what my whole indication was. And now, granted, that's probably how Trev Alberts wants me to think about it, but it seems like Matt Rule was option. At least that's what I like to think, is that he was the guy and Trev was able to close it. Real great that he did that before, leaving for Ohio State here in a couple of years. So
will you shut the fuck up?
I'm saying enjoy it while he's here.
God,
you're making me real mad saying that. All right, so say it with me. Jason Bean's playing. I'm going the opposite way.
Yep, Oklahoma.
Fair. Easy one, South Carolina, Texas A&M. South Carolina, another team I was really wrong about coming into this year. I thought that they would have been good, serviceable at least. I think they have 2 wins this year, or maybe 2 SEC wins. They're bad.
They're 2-6.
Okay, I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Be like, maybe I had that number wrong. No, they stink. Texas A&M, I don't think is as good as I thought they were going to be, but give me the win here.
A&M, easy.
Yep, I agree.
West Virginia and Central Florida. Yeah, I have no indication on the Big 12. I'm going to try to find a coin to flip here.
What's the line on that game?
That's a
me
good
look.
question. I would assume West Virginia's slight favorite. And Tyler's got it. I'm coin hunting.
Yeah.
Coin hunting. Love that.
It is 14.
What?
Yep, Texas A&M 14. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Wrong game.
I was like,
was like-
holy shit. Oh, it's UCF by 7. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's still a lot.
I'm going to lean UCF just because West Virginia has lost. They lost a heartbreaker to Houston. Who did they lose to last week?
Oklahoma
Okie
State, I
State. They
think?
got
Yeah.
They got to go on the road to UCF. I'm gonna lean UCF.
Yeah, I'll go UCF.
I'm
as
taking
well. I think
UCF just because they're the home team.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, if Vegas thinks that they're going to win by a touchdown, I mean, who am I to say otherwise? Michigan State, Minnesota.
What's your coin say?
My coin. So let's see if it's heads for. Okay, if heads for the home team, then yeah, UCF. Boy, what
Mhm.
I think it
what
was. I think it was
What a-
UCF for heads and UCF for tails.
what a stinker of a game we have. Michigan State, Minnesota. I can't wait. Give me the Gophers at home. You know what? Actually, no, never mind. Give me Michigan State. This feels like a dumb game for them to win. Yeah, give me the Spartans.
Minnesota is -7 in this game.
Okay.
But I agree that this seems like a game that Michigan State would win for some reason. So I'm going to take Michigan State.
Yeah, there's no
I'm gonna
objectiveness or analysis from me. It's just this feels like they're due to win a stupid game, and I'd like them to win this stupid game as opposed to the stupid game they have the week after.
Listen, I'm gonna go Minnesota, and I'm gonna give you my reasoning. Michigan State is gonna win this game for 3.5 quarters, and then Minnesota is gonna pull out some bullshit late, like they always do, and win this game by like 2 points.
They're gonna punt the ball. Michigan State's gonna return it, and they're gonna find some technicality to call it back.
Yeah.
Outstanding. A legal technicality, by the way, wouldn't be a hose job. They would find a rule in the rule book already to give Minnesota the win. But it would already be in there. This game would have been a lot more fun if both of these teams could have found a way to pull out a win on Saturday, Duke and Louisville. I'm assuming Riley Leonard at best isn't going to be 100%, and I trust Jeff Brom a little bit more than I trust QB2 for Duke here.
Right now, it's Louisville by 4.
Yeah. If I knew Riley Leonard was going to play and be healthy, I would take Duke. But Louisville coming off the bye and potentially playing Duke's backup, I'm going to lean Louisville.
I agree.
There we go
I
again,
agree.
Tyler jumping on my
Not
back.
a lot of conflict on this week.
No.
We're pretty civil about Harburg and Sims, which is a change, and we're all getting along. It's very nice to see. Ohio State and Wisconsin. At the beginning of the season, I would have been way more excited about this game.
Yeah,
now
no
I'm not
kidding.
Now I'm not very excited about watching any of these teams play football. Camp
Ohio
Randall's
State
not
by
nothing.
14.5.
That's a lot of points. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
Wisconsin's defense is that good. And obviously, I don't think their offense has been up to expectation in the Luke Fickell era in year one. So yeah, give me Ohio State.
Ohio
I agree.
State.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. Trying to get so good at Excel that I don't even have to use my mouse. But we're getting there. Pittsburgh and Notre Dame.
Notre Dame by 1 million.
I think that's pretty
Yeah.
easy. Oh, you know what I didn't notice? James Madison's ranked now.
Yeah, 25.
Let's go.
Yep.
Give me them
Stuck in there.
Dukes.
Oregon and Utah. Utah's what I would say a stout defense and a pig farmer at quarterback. Oregon, one of the best teams in the country. This does to me kind of feel like a game that Utah could win just because the Pac-12 cannibalizes itself. But yeah, give me Oregon, just because I think that they're on a different level. There's levels to it.
Oregon, and it's not close.
Utah being at home gives me some pause. But I have been ride or die with Oregon all year, so I have to take them here.
I think another two things worth mentioning is one, I think Utah's probably getting up bigger last week than they will this week. Beating USC and Caleb Williams, I think probably means more than giving Oregon a fight for their money. And it just also reminds me how sad it is that Cam Rising isn't playing this year. Because this is one of the games that I had circled preseason, assuming that Cam Rising would be back eventually.
Yeah.
And that's a much different ball game. Up next, if you didn't notice, a lot of these games kind of stink as far as like competitiveness. Admittedly, I think next year we'll pick against the spread as opposed to straight up. That seems more enticing.
Or we just pick out games where like we could keep it like spreads that are within like a touchdown.
There's not a whole lot of like prominent games like that. I mean, we have to really kind of get in the weeds.
Yeah, that would be tough. We'd be picking group of 5 games then. Yeah,
really
that's true.
Dial in on our North Texas and Temple this week. I thought about putting on my bookie broker slip, but so I thought I'd change something up here. So we got Texas playing BYU and Georgia playing Florida. You can either pick both Texas and Georgia to win, or you can roll the dice and you win if either BYU or Florida wins.
Give me Texas and Georgia. I mean,
yeah.
There were probably better games to have tested this example with than Texas and Georgia.
I don't know. Where's the Georgia
game?
It's
at Texas and it's at Florida.
Oh wait, it's not Georgia?
No, it's at Florida and at Texas. But it's a mid-afternoon game, so it's not a night game. So the Swamp won't be as scary.
Yeah, give me the 2 favorites.
You know what? Because this is my new system, I think I got to go on a limb here. And there's got to be at least some juice to it. I mean, I think, boy, and what are the odds that Texas puts out 2 stinkers? I feel a lot better if it was in Provo. I feel a lot better about the other one if Florida was good. Florida is better than I would have given them credit for at the beginning of the season. So I don't know. Maybe they can. Well, no. Now that I'm picking them is when they're going to shit the bed. So that's how that'll be. And then the big one, Nebraska and Purdue. I think Nebraska's dialed in. I think they're humming, and I think that there's good stuff ahead for the Huskers. So give me them pretty heavily here. They're what's a
4.5.
4.5.
They started. Now they're at 2.5.
Oh,
that makes me nervous.
Give me the Big Red.
Let's fucking go.
Give me Nebraska. It's going to be 20-13.
20-13. I like it. 20 points would be pretty good. I'd be happy with that. Give me. Oh boy, where do I want? I think I want 20 as well. 20-10.
Give me 17-7.
I wanted to make sure it was a number that equals in 2 field goals because I think Tristan Alvano is gonna continue his hot streak.
I love that.
Thought about making it 21-10 with just 7 field goals, but that's asking a lot. I'd be happy with any of these wins. I'll tell you what, I'd be happy with any win against Purdue. Just keep the boat afloat. I mean, if I can look at the schedule and be like, we can win out and make it a Big Ten championship game, that delusion fuels me more than anything else. So as long as that's still alive, granted, if we lose, I'll come back down and just be happy with the bowl game. I'll be very excited with the bowl game, but as of right now, I'd much rather have that delusion of a Big Ten championship game.
Be delusional. It's good for the soul.
How great would that 30 for 30 be? Nebraska squeaks in the worst division in college football. They squeak into the Big Ten championship game and get revenge against Michigan. Are you kidding me?
Those cheating bastards.
I mean, now that they don't have, we get new signs. They're not stealing them anymore. We're in. What do you want to see out of this Purdue-Nebraska game? What would make you feel the most excited?
I want to see Harburg progress in any way, shape, or form.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think that's going to be kind of the heartbeat. And, you look at the wide receiver room, taking another hit with Billy Kemp. The running back room has been decimated all year. Now the offensive line's getting hits. It feels like if any one person or any one unit could step up and really show some life, it would be the quarterback. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I just want to see the defense play like it did last week. Just fun, fast, no thinking, just fly around, hit some people. That's what I want to see.
Then if Nebraska were to play Michigan State this week, which I think they play the week after, would they be favored as of right now on the road?
I think it would be just about a pick 'em.
I wonder. I think it would probably be like 1 point to Michigan State.
Yeah.
Kind of what I would think. Now, if Nebraska beats Purdue and Michigan State loses to Minnesota, then is Nebraska favored?
If they are, it would still be slightly, be like 1 or 2, but I don't know.
Then keeping the what if train going, if Nebraska wins that game, what are the odds that they're favored against Maryland?
Not good.
Negative.
Okay.
Negative odds.
I think it would be inside like 6, but I still think we're a dog no matter what.
Yeah.
Holy smoke. Side note, the NFL suspended Kareem Jackson for 4 games.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, that's a lot of games.
I
mean, probably rightly so. He can't take all of his money in fines.
I saw someone reply to it and say someone in the NFL in 1998 was suspended 8 games for driving drunk and killing a woman. in comparison to that today, so what a world we live in.
Times have changed, but yeah, because I was just kind of hoping that there'd be a scenario in my head where I'm like, Nebraska's going to be favored in all of their games until they lose. But yeah, even Maryland. Yeah,
I think we're still dogs to Wisconsin, no matter what they do or what we do.
I think we're dogs in the final 3, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 6-3, 7-3, and 7-3 Nebraska team, 8-3 Nebraska team. I don't know. At home against Eastern Iowa. I don't know.
Gets me every time.
I don't know. Yeah, a boy can dream.
Absolutely.
Dream. But none of that matters if we lose to Purdue. I guess in the Big Ten race, which it feels crazy that we're even talking about it. But I mean, I think those are all winnable games. And like Tyler said, even if we are dogs in any of those games, it's not going to be by a lot of points within a touchdown. So awesome, fellas. Well, anything else you'd like to add? What else are you excited about this week coming up?
Watching more ball.
Yeah.
Always.
Ball is ball. I mean, it's getting high stakes. I mean, as we kind of pointed out with Florida State and a lot of these teams, it's kind of at that point where you can't fuck up anymore. If you're if you trip up against like LSU against Florida State earlier this season, or trying to think of anybody else who has one good loss, like Texas and Oklahoma, the loser of that game in Red River. I mean that was it. That was all the leeway that you can get. Now you got to win all of them.
Exactly. It'll be fun to see how everything shakes out. And it's hard to, in weeks like this where there aren't great games, you just got to keep reminding yourself that, it's all going to matter in the end.
Yeah, and there's gonna be some chaos. This is my favorite part of the timeline because it's always, well, what if these 5 conference champions go undefeated? Like, no, that's not gonna happen. That's never happened. It's not gonna start this year.
Yeah.
And now, but that doesn't mean that some of those teams are gonna lose games that they shouldn't lose. And that's what I'm here for. That's what's so beautiful about college football is that if the Chiefs stink it up against the Lions, it doesn't matter. If they lose to the Bears, it doesn't matter. Because all
All
you gotta
right,
do is get to the
so
playoffs.
since you brought up the Chiefs, some are saying the Chiefs are gonna lock up the division in November this year. Some are saying, not me, but some. What your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I don't have any rebuttal against that.
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, why
you don't
wouldn't they?
care. You tell me every week how you don't care about the Chiefs, so why do you care now?
I said their season hasn't started yet. It doesn't start till the playoffs.
What a sad existence as a fan.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, and he was getting mad at me.
You get 6 weeks of enjoyment of football.
I would much
potentially.
rather be in the foxhole of like a 9-8 team trying to make the playoffs. Then I would be interested all year. But
Oh man,
I'm just really unlucky as a fan.
I asked my buddy Shane this, but like, does it bum you out that like your kids are never going to get to enjoy the Chiefs in the same way that you have? Like they're
Yeah.
like the joy of like that first and even the second Super Bowl, like
Oh.
they'll never get any of that.
Dude, I had to sit through Tyler Thigpen. Who else? Brody Croyle. Some ugly names. So if there's anybody deserves this, it's me.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm just saying that your kids are going to deserve it less.
You should listen back to this portion of the podcast and just realize how big of a piece of shit you are. Fuck you.
And the worst part about it is I can't even enjoy Taylor Swift anymore. I fucking love Taylor Swift, and now I can't even have that. You used to like football.
I know Tyler wakes up in cold sweats thinking about her and Travis Kelce procreating.
Why would I? Yeah. Why? Why would I even be thinking about that?
Well,
I mean, what else do you think about it, Nick?
Anytime Jim Nance brought up Taylor Swift Sunday, he just was punching air.
No, it's just the thing I was saying is they just had like a crazy good drive, and the first thing you do is switch over to Taylor Swift. Like, why does this matter?
Because she's dropping 1989 Taylor's version next week. Tyler, who cares about football?
Care. Oh, actually, speaking of that, Purdue is 0-6 all time when Taylor Swift drops an album.
That's right. That's right. Go Big Red.